Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Back Nine Report. Every week, Fred Altvater and I get together and check in on the world of golf to bring you the latest news, insights, analysis, interviews, recaps, previews. Hey, we cover anything and everything golf. In other words, if it happened in golf, we have it for you. Fred, hi, how are you this week?
Hey, Carlos, good to see you again. We got to quit meeting like this, man. Once a week, every week, 50 weeks a year. It's amazing. I see you more than I see my wife almost. Hey, my grandson's football team won their Michigan high school semifinal game on Saturday. They're now going to play in the state championship at Ford Field in Detroit on Friday night. Pretty exciting stuff. Had a tremendous parade for them when they returned home Saturday evening. There was like 5 or 6 fire trucks, 3 or 4 the county deputy sheriffs and the police and everybody. I mean, it was quite a big deal. People turned out to welcome them back. Probably about 300 or 400 people there. It was really quite exciting. My Browns not so lucky. They definitely had a chance, but couldn't quite get it done. Mahomes, suffered that concussion during the second half. I thought maybe that was what Cleveland was going to get away with that, but no. I hope Mahomes is ready to go for Buffalo. It sounds like he's recuperating okay. Good luck to him. He is just so much fun to watch. I really enjoy watching him play. And Carlos, hopefully, I'll be watching the game this weekend from Florida. We're heading south right after my grandson's football game, and we should be in sunny Florida, for the Sunday's game. So looking for that. Hey, this week in golf, Kevin Na won again in Hawaii. Joaquin Neiman close again. He begins 2021 with 2 runners up. The LPGA and European tours get to kick off their years this week in Florida and Abu Dhabi. We're going to talk about that. So we got a lot of golf happening in the world, and we're going to talk about all of it, right? Plus, we got some really big news just happened today. Big news.
Big one. And we'll get to that pretty soon. I mean, I can't wait to start talking about it. But as usual, we go from the practice range into the backspin where we do our recaps. And there was just one tournament this weekend. It was the Sony Open and in Hawaii. That final leaderboard was headed, like you mentioned, by Kevin Na. He secured a one-shot win at the Waialae Country Club in Honolulu, Hawaii. He had to make a birdie on the final hole to trump the chances of Joaquin Neiman. I was hoping so much that he could get it there. I was like, no, Kevin, you got to miss that one. But he couldn't, man. He made it. He won there. He not only held Joaquin Neiman off, but also Chris Kirk. Uh, Joaquin, he did so great. I mean, 4 under there in the back nine, but not too much, not enough. Now becomes the seventh winner of this event in the last 8 years to play in the Tournament of Champions the week prior. So it shows that that's a good thing to do, right? Webb Simpson, Mark Leishman, and last year's playoff loser Brendan Steele finishing a tie for fourth place. Brendan Steele, of course, the overnight leader, 2 shots behind Na, who won his fifth PGA Tour title and earned a win in his fourth consecutive season. Fred Takumi Kanaya missed the cut at 3 under, but keep an eye on him. You'll see. But for now, he won the $1.188 million winner's share of the $6.6 million prize.
Yeah, that's Na's fourth win in the last 4 years. He's been turning it on. Current world ranking 38th all the way up to 23rd. Moves from 29th to 16th on the Ryder Cup points list. Another staggering number here for you, Carlos. Na turned pro at the age of 17. He's now 37, so he's been out there 20 years. He's earned 34.5 million just in prize money. You could probably double that for endorsement money and maybe even more than that. So he's probably closing in on between 75 and 100 million dollars in 20 years of earnings. So pretty good for him. Hey, speaking of Ryder Cup, could Kevin Na really be a Ryder Cupper? Would he be a good teammate? What do you think about that, Carlos? You want to see Kevin Na on the Ryder Cup team?
I'll take him over Bryson DeChambeau, but you know, That's
Well,
not my
that wouldn't
call.
be much of a choice, would
But,
it?
yeah, but anyway, no, I think he would do fine. I actually think a lot of people have him misunderstood. I think as a teammate he would be really good. And I go back to the time that he was at the Players Championship a couple of years ago, playing with Tiger at the same time, and you saw the interaction between two people that were thought to be like they would not talk to each other. And after that we just learned that no, they have nothing against each other. It's just that Kevin likes to play slow, Tiger likes to play fast, and that's just what happened. So I really don't think that he would be a bad teammate. He actually could complement one of these big long hitters very, very well. I think he would be a good addition to the Ryder Cup.
I think he'd be outstanding on the foursomes.
Hmm.
Keeps the ball in play,
Yeah.
tremendous putter. If he got the right partner in the foursomes, I think he'd be very good at that. You talked about Joaquin Niemann, second runner-up, start off the year. He's now third in the FedEx Cup points list, with his sixth at the CJ Cup last fall. He now has three top tens.
Question for you
Yeah.
regarding Joaquin. What you think about him now? I mean, are you still sold on him, or still holding out on his potential?
No, he's rounding. He's rounding into a really good form. I don't think his swing's going to hold up for 10 or 12 years, though. He's got way too much upper body movement. That down press that he does, that's really hard on his back. That as he gets older, when he's young, he can do that up till he's 25, 27. He can probably get away with that. But when he gets older, he's not going to be able to do that. But he is. I don't know if it's a fact that he's playing to make money for his cousin, that he's just a little bit more focused, or the fact that now he's a little bit more experienced. He's been around a little bit. What is he? 22 years old, right?
21.
21. Yeah, I mean, he's a young guy, and he's playing with a tremendous maturity. Did you see? I mean, I watched him a lot when he was playing with Sergio last week at Kapalua, and he was into it. He and Sergio are good buddies, but they weren't really yakking it up on the golf course. They were talking a little bit, but he was all business. He was into the moment, and pretty much the same thing. He was really into it at the Sony this week. I saw a couple of the rounds, and he was into it pretty good. So I no, I think he's a great young talent. I wouldn't be surprised to see him win like a Masters or possibly a British Open within the next year or two. I mean, he's got that kind of game, and he seems to be fearless down the stretch. You agree?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that you hit it on the nail because definitely the most important thing between the past 2 years for him, as he has made his jump from the PGA Latin America, is his mind. Definitely, that's what has been the difference. If you see him, he has been more settled, and he's been more determined. But the experience he has it. He has been playing since very young at a very, very high level. So that's why, even though he's 21, it looks like he's been around forever. It's been 3 years already that he's been playing at the professional level. But I think he's gaining experience. And now with this two runner ups, he learned last week that he can't let down. This time he had to play catch up. I remember him being 5 down on Brendan Steele heading into the back nine, and I was like, I know he can do 4 under because he had been burning that back nine. He was 4 under, 5 under, 4 under, and 3 under during the 4 rounds and the back nine. I was just like, if Brandon could just bring it down to 20 under. I wasn't counting on Kevin not going 21 under. But anyway, he did get those 4 under there, and it shows you what you were saying. He's getting into a closer's mentality, and I think it's helping him. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him do well at the majors this year. I think he is going to be a force to be reckoned with very
I'll
soon.
tell you one thing I really like about him, Carlos. I say he plays without any fear because he knows he's got the next shot. I mean, basically it has to be off the end of the world because his short game is outstanding. He has one of the best short games going right now. Time after time when he missed the green, I mean, he would not just get it with close or get it, he'd get it within 1 or 2 feet every time. So that's a tremendous, that's what's wrong with Jordan Spieth. He is so worried that he's not going to hit the green or not going to hit a fairway that it's driving him nuts. Joaquin doesn't care. He knows he's got the next shot. No problem. I don't, I'll just go on. And that's the total difference right there.
Definitely. No, I have to agree. And hopefully, Jordan, I hope he finds out really and starts. We've said it. I think it's all in his mind. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. But anyway, it was a great tournament to look at. Yes, go ahead.
I got just two more things real quick. Brendan Steele really let this slip away. This was his. He was a 54-hole leader. He went for the green on 10. Excuse me. Ended up making double bogey, and that kind of just he never really recovered from that. It really put him back. Webb Simpson, another great finish. Another great tournament for him. He's the most consistent player right now on tour. Just week in, week out, he's top 15, top 10. He's right there.
Doesn't he remind you when Matt Kuchar was doing the same thing?
Yes.
Top tens and very consistent, not winning that much, but he was there all the time, right?
Yep, that's exact. And Webb's been a good player for a long time. He kind of went away there. Taking the long putter away from him kind of hurt him a little bit. But again, he figured it out, and now he's back. The last 2 years he's been playing really good. Did you see? I don't know if you saw this or not, but Wednesday during the Pro-Am, some of the guys figured out on the 18th tee, 18 is a big dog leg left, right? 90 degree. And there's no stands this year and no fans. So they figured out they could drive it over into 10 fairway and just have a wedge into 18 green, which is a par 5, okay? And so overnight, the PGA Tour rules official said, "No, not so fast, guys." They went out and put some OB stakes in there between 18 and 10. So 10 was out of bounds, so they had to play it up 18. So I thought that was kind of funny. And then I got to mention Chris Kirk, right? This had to be the story of the tournament. Kirk has been out on medical exemption due to his rehabilitation from alcoholism and different things from that. And he was down to his last attempt to make enough money to keep his card, ends up blitzing that back 9 and finishing runner-up, tied for runner-up. So congratulations to him. That's really good stuff. He really had a great week, and so now he's back on tour. He's in a good place. He said, I'm so much better than I was. I got a whole new idea what's going on, and mentally and physically. So kudos to him. I hope everything keeps working out for him. Carlos, that's all I got for you.
Yeah, no, Chris is keeping his PGA Tour card, major medical start here, but it's a great, remarkable story for him to come back from all that he has gone. So great story, definitely. I have to agree with that. But with that, we'll wrap up our weekend backspin, our recap of what happened this past weekend. And in this case, it was just a Sony Open on the PGA Tour. Now let's go to what we now call is on the field, on the course, which is the news. And we have plenty of news to talk about, but the big one, this is just right off the press. I mean, Tiger Woods, he looks to be a doubt for the Masters in April. Yes, after it was announced that he had gone a 5th surgery on his back. He had recently a microdiscectomy procedure to remove a pressure disc that was pinching his nerve. He was said to be in pain back in December at the PNC Championship, where he and his son Charlie finished in 7th position. And now we know, he's out of both the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines next week and the Genesis Invitational at Riviera next month, which he has confirmed that he will attend, but as a host. So Fred, however, the elephant in the room has to be the Masters, which is now less than 10 weeks away. It seems very unlikely that Tiger will be able to have a tune-up before Augusta, and it could very well be that he just sits out the year's first major.
Well, they're going to play all those tournaments in Florida. The WGC is going to be there, and the Honda. which he hasn't played in the Honda for a while. That might be a place he could play. You got the players in there. So he's got some places he could play a couple times. But my goodness, this is the fifth back surgery, the fourth microdiscectomy, and then you throw in the spinal fusion in there along with these other things, and you add in the 4 or 5 or 6 knee surgeries, whatever there was. The guy's, he's a walking ER room. My goodness, they need to have the EMTs following him around on the golf course. You never know when he's going to fall over. So I don't, yeah, Carlos, I mean, can he survive 5 back surgeries? Can he survive all those knee surgeries? Can he come back from all the personal issues he's had? Are we going to see Tiger win again? Is he now? Is this it? I mean, you can't count him out. Why would he consistently keep putting himself into this? If it's anybody else in the world after spinal fusion, they're saying, okay, I've had a bunch of knee surgeries. Now I've got spinal. I'm probably not going to swing a golf club again. He's 45. He turned 45 the other day, right? At the end of December. Why is he doing this? Why didn't he just say, okay, enough's enough. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I was reading what the microdiscectomy is, and it's really a minimal invasive surgery. Really, it's just to remove the pressure from the pressurized disc. But what they do actually is they remove part of that disc. So when you come to think about it, I don't know where those have been. Like you mentioned, he already has a fusion there for microdiscectomies. So we don't know exactly where they have been, but let's say it's the same disc. They have been chipping away at it each and every time. So next thing is another fusion, if that's the case, right?
It
So
also could it also could paralyze him. One of these
yeah,
chips could paralyze him.
and that's the thing. I mean, I know for a fact I haven't had a pressurized disc, but I've seen people, and I remember my playing days of tennis. I remember this player once was doing a serve, and he got a pinched nerve in his back, and I could hear him scream because after he did the swing, he got that, and I could hear him scream. I cannot imagine what Tiger has been going through with all this pains in his back. But definitely anything, any swing that he does could actually paralyze him, like you're saying, and eventually, this is just going to get to the point that there's not going to be any return from it. He's going to have to call it quits at some time. And I don't know how this is just going to keep going for him.
What he has to do to get ready to play every day. I mean, it takes him what, 3 4 hours pre-round to prepare to get loose enough so that he can play. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm 70 years old. I know what it takes to try and play golf. I got to start loosening up when I get out of bed in the morning, right? I mean, because everything hurts. And that's kind of where he's at the age of 45. His body is like a 70-year-old. So it's got to be tough. And when do you just say, okay, enough's enough? I don't care about Sam Snead. I don't care about winning 83 tournaments. Big deal. Jack was great. I can't get him. I can't. I'm not going to keep going through this. It's just not worth it. I've made almost $1 billion playing golf. I got more money than I'm ever going to need. My kids have more money than they're going to need. I'm out of here. Let me just sit back and take it easy.
I just think it's the drive to try to beat Jack at the at the 18 majors and try to also just get the 83, right? But it's just his competitiveness. I don't know where it's going to take him, but it's going to be a real miracle. I think if his last comeback to win the Masters was an incredible comeback, this one has to top that if he ever does that and wins at least one more major. But hey, that's that's Tiger. You can never count him out. I mean, just imagine just by seeing him what he did at the PNC, knowing now in hindsight how he was in pain and what he was going through, and he didn't play bad at all. I
No.
mean, imagine if he was just feeling well in perfect condition, they would have won. They would have won the tournament. But anyway, that's Tiger, and we definitely this is a fluid situation. As soon as we know more about it, we'll keep reporting on it. But definitely so far, we know that the Masters could be in doubt for Tiger Woods. Now let's talk about a little bit about Annika Sorenstam and Justin Thomas. Last week we were talking about Justin Thomas and his homophobic slur that got he apologized and all that, but all we know so far is that he lost one sponsor. Yeah, big money, but hey, one sponsor so far. No big deal so far, I can say about Justin, which I'm glad because definitely shouldn't be that big of a deal. Sorry, but to me, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Now, Annika, of course, we remember that her and Gary Player were both criticized heavily for participating in the ceremony for the award that Donald Trump's administration announced for them to receive what is definitely the biggest civil honor, okay, the Medal of Freedom. Uh, and it was because Trump basically was the one that was giving it to them. So they were just basically ruin into social media because that's what happens, right? We discussed this if she would have been, if she should have been or not. But one of the things that I forgot to mention last week is that this thing happened at this time because of the postponement, because of the lockdown and the pandemic. This was announced back in March 2020. Okay, long before what happened in Congress was. So the question to me is, if she would have had it in March 2020, it wouldn't have been this big of a deal. So that that was a decision back almost a year ago. It happens now, and just because of what happened in and again, I'm not saying, and I'm not condoning what happened in Congress and all that. I think it's like Annika said, one of the darkest days in the history of the U.S. But definitely, I just see some, I don't know, hypocrisy or something. Because if it would have been in March 2020, everybody would have been celebrating Gary Player, awesome, And the best thing for Babe is that she's dead, because otherwise they would have been also, and I don't know if they protested in front of her cemetery or whatever it is. But Fred, what's your take on all this? To me, I don't know, man. To me, it's just ridiculous.
Well, to me, I don't really think it's any deal at all. Okay, as far as big deal, little deal, or no deal, for me, it's no deal. But I know that there are a lot of people out there who hate Donald Trump so bad. They just hate him. They cannot get it out of their brain, even though he's gone now. It's all done. It's all over. They don't have him to kick around anymore. They'll find reasons to still kick him around, but it's all over, it's all done. And so they got to find any reason to still make a big deal about it. And that's what they're doing with this. Okay. Yeah. Belichick, good for him. He decided it's not a good thing, not a good look for him. That's fine. I have no problem with that. Not at all. But to criticize Annika for taking the award, Annika has built up enough credits, enough good deeds that this was a deserved thing for her. I have no problem with that. We talked about that before on the show. Same thing with Justin Thomas. He has enough credits in the bank, and he said right away, "Hey, that was a mistake. I'm sorry. It was just a heat of the moment thing. Sorry, won't happen again. I'll try to do better." He handled it perfectly. That's exactly the way he should handle it. And everybody knows he's a good guy. It's not like he's had a problem before, creates issues. He's a good guy. So they get a pass. The deal with Ralph Lauren dropping him on the clothing contract, he's going to get another clothing contract in a heartbeat. I mean, he'll have one before he tees it up again, I'm sure. But Ralph Lauren, that's fine. They can go off and do what they want to do. That's no problem. They're allowed to do that. That's fine. No other company, no other sponsor has said a thing. Not a problem. They're stuck in with Justin. His apology was enough. Whatever. So this whole thing, coming back to the Annika thing, again, we come back to social media, Carlos, and people just get on there and they think they can just say anything they want to say, and they have to put their 2 cents on it like it's the most important thing in the world. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to stop there before I say something I shouldn't, but that's pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm not gonna comment anymore. Otherwise, social media will be over us
Yeah, yeah.
pretty soon as well. But I just think, like you're saying, to me, it's just a retaliation of anything that the outgoing president does. Um, and I respect them. If you want to hate him, there's going to be the ones that love him, hate him. It's your prerogative. But really, for somebody else like Annika that really deserves something like this, and we can theorize on Gary if he deserved it or not. But Annika, definitely, I mean, all the things that she's done on the field and even off the field, I mean, especially there, deserves something like this. But anyway, yeah, let's stop that because otherwise we'll get the social media over us. So hey,
Definitely wouldn't want that.
no, we don't want that. Anyway, Fred, the second edition of the Gamebridge LPGA will be played at Lake Nona Golf and Country Club in Orlando, Florida. It's going to be February 25 to the 28th this year. This is the second LPGA Tour event to be held there at Lake Nona as it hosted the inaugural Solheim Cup matches back in 1990. That is the Tom Fazio Design Championship golf course that has also served as the host venue for the 1993 World Cup of Golf, the Tavistock Cup, U.S. Open qualifiers, and numerous other events. Fred, the Gamebridge LPGA will be the second of 5 events in Florida. There's going to be plenty of action in the men and the female there in Florida during the 2021 season, which for them is going to start in January now this weekend with the Diamond Resorts Tournament of Champions in Orlando. And we'll be talking about that. But at least we know the Gamebridge has a place right now.
Yeah, Lake Nona, that's a pretty nice place. A lot of the European guys that play the tour that live in Florida live in Lake Nona. Yeah, there's quite a few guys that live in there actually, and I've played that. I've got to play that course now about 3 different times. Really, really beautiful golf course. Really good greens. I'm curious to see how the ladies play it. There's plenty of room to drive it there. It's not all that tight per se. It does play long. I know on the card it doesn't look like it's excessively long, and but it seemed like every hole we were having long irons or woods into it on the par fours. It just plays long, and especially probably like here in January when maybe it's just a little bit wetter, maybe a little bit cooler there in Orlando. So yeah, but well, no, I guess this is going to be played. When did you say? February. Yeah, in February.
February 28th.
End of February. Yeah, yeah, it's still a little cool then up there. So, but it's a wonderful place. They're going to really like it there, and I mean it's right beside the airport. Easy in, easy out. Like Nona, the whole area out there is grown up. It's just all top shelf. So, going to be a great place for a tournament, and glad the LPGA got one more tournament in Florida to get the year going.
Michael One doing it, that's
Michael
the
won.
commish doing it for everyone. But hey, definitely a great place to play. And I hear you say that it plays long, but it's gonna be like it's wide open for driving, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's gonna be very forgiving for those. So it's gonna be interesting to see really which players are gonna be. We know that the LPGA week in and week out, players are playing all the time, especially now that everything's gonna be in the same state. So it's gonna be easier for them to move from one to the other venues. But I really wonder. I want to see how the players are going to start to play that because it's not very often that we see that wide open courses on the LPGA. But anyway, like you said, it's going to be interesting now with the difference in the temperature and the weather, how it's going to be playing. Of course, the other thing that I had here, I noted for you, of course, it doesn't look that long. You were in a cart.
Yes, we
It's
were in a, and you know what? I got to play one of the holes. The Finn Scooters guys set up. So 2 of the years, I got to ride Finn Scooters on one of the holes. Those are such a blast. I want one of those so bad. I love those things.
yeah, on a cart, everything will be short. So no worries. Anyway, Fred, COVID strikes keep striking. The PGA Tour announced last Thursday that the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am is suspending its traditional amateur competition for this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Earlier in the week, Genesis Invitational, which is held after the AT&T Pebble Beach beginning on February 18, also announced that they will have no spectators allowed at Riviera for this year's event. The professional portion of the AT&T, featuring a 156-player field, will continue as scheduled, beginning play on February 11. However, without the amateur component, the tournament will be held on just two courses rather than its historical three-venue rotation. Now, Pebble Beach and Spyglass serving as host, and then Monterey Peninsula Country Club sideline for this year's competition. Fred, right now, celebrating its 75th anniversary this year, the Pebble Beach Ram, which was originated by Bing Crosby and called Crosby Clambake, it's always been known from attracting the celebrities from the world of entertainment, sports, and business, and it just won't feel the same. I know for the players that are going to be celebrating that they don't have to be playing with the celebrities and this program, but at least for us and for the fans out there, we won't be seeing that entertainment part that has been the staple of this tournament.
Yeah, we just don't get to see Bill Murray play. Oh my goodness, what a well, for shame.
I mean, down the ratings are going to be down just
Yeah,
because of that.
exactly. It's still Pebble Beach though, right? That hasn't changed, so somebody's going to be watching, I'm sure. Yeah, you got the AT&T, no pro-am. You got the Hope this week, no pro-ams, and that's all about, that's all about the celebrities and stuff. You got the Honda Classic coming up there in March in Florida. They're going to try and have some fans, but they don't know how many yet. And so you got the Waste Management. They announced they're going to limit the fans to 5,000. They would have what 15 or 20,000 in those stands around 16, right?
Yeah.
So 5,000, that's like nothing on the golf course. So yeah, I mean we've covered it a couple times. I know like the Honda Classic is looking at because of the stands the way they are out there on the Bear Trap, the famous Bear Trap. They've changed some of that stuff around. It'll have a little different look this year, and so they want the fans back. They want to get them in there, but they just can't do it. But the Honda is going to be kind of the first tournament we're going to see very many fans at all. Although we are going to have about 5,000 there in Phoenix, but at Scottsdale. But Carlos, that's just kind of the deal. It's and on a side note, I was watching a video. Somebody sent me a video that did some doctor, and he really did a good job. He had 10 points on about these vaccinations for the COVID, and he said one thing in there that really stuck with me. He says, he says everybody is pointing to this summer. He says even with these vaccinations, it's going to take a long time for them to get out. He says we're looking at the summer of 2022 before we really start to feel like we're getting back to normal. We're talking a whole nother 15 months yet or so, Carlos, so of this crap. So this is what we got to deal with still.
Yeah, no, I've heard that. It's just like this year, even with the vaccinations, you have to give it time because not everybody's going to get vaccinated, first of all. And even with this two-step vaccination, right? That is like the first one they say is like 50, 51% effective at that time, but then it builds up with the second shot. So uh, you can still get the COVID-19 during those shots. So you still have to wear your mask and all this social distancing. So definitely this year to me, I see the push to keep sports going, like football, like basketball. They keep going at it. I don't know what baseball's going to do as well when they come back, but they're still a couple of months away. But the real thing is that I don't see how there's going to be any normality or at least any even chance to get back to some normal this year. I want to know what's going to happen with the Olympics as well. That's going to be a big
That
deal
that you're
there.
very
Of
true.
course, this is summer, but I don't know what's going to happen because that really without spectators, Japan is going to be in big problems. I mean, we already know that any country that hosts an Olympic goes into a big debt afterwards. You don't bring the fans. That's just a death sentence for them. But you mentioned on the classic, they're planning to welcome spectators, but that was not always a given because of what we've been saying. I mean, the ongoing coronavirus, and a lot can still happen in the next 2 months. However, with the primary focus for them being on health and well-being of all involved with the tournament and the local community, daily attendance will be limited, like you're saying. But those levels will be determined at a later date. So they're having some flexibility towards this. Fred, one interesting thing is the Honda Classic was named the most fan first event in 2019 by the PGA Tour, and last year's tournament, which was won by Sanjay Im, attracted 206,384 spectators over the 7 days. Of course, this year won't even be close, but that tells you how important to the Honda Classic is the fans.
Yeah, and one more point too. I know we talked about Augusta National and the Masters. They're going to do the Augusta National Women's Amateur. They're going to do the drive, chip, and putt. They're going to, and they are going to have some patrons. Now they're going to limit that, and some of the people are receiving letters right now. They just started receiving letters today, actually, of the people that are going to be refunded their the cost they paid for the tickets for 2021, because they're only going to have, I don't know the number, but it's not going to be anywhere near a full crowd or full participation like they would normally have of patrons. So that's another thing that's out there too, Carlos, and that's not clear till April yet. So
Yeah, well, we'll get to see that. Uh, hey, some sad news, man. Two-time major golf champion Angel Cabrera was arrested in Brazil on Thursday, and he will be extradited to his home country of Argentina for 5 years worth of alleged crimes that include assault and theft. That was reported by the Associated Press. Uh, he's a former Masters and U.S. Open champion winner. Uh, it was on the Interpol's code list when I heard this. I know that red notices are issued for wanted fugitives and is a request for law enforcement around the world to locate and provisionally arrest the person pending for extradition. Uh, Angel is 51. He's charged by Argentine officials with assault, theft, illegal intimidation, and repeated disrespect to authorities. That's per a police statement. He was arrested in an upper class area of Rio de Janeiro. Uh, Fred, his ex-wife Silva Rivadero reportedly filed tow charges against him earlier in January. Cecilia Torres, a former partner, and said that Cabrera punched her, threatened her, and attempted to run her over with his car in 2016, per the report by Argentine media. I was totally shocked about all this. Of course, we never know, but the way that I got to meet him when a couple of times when he was in the Puerto Rico Open, and the type of person that he is, and all that we know publicly about him, never spelled anything like this. These are very serious charges, and if claimed true, I think that's the end of his career as we see it.
yeah, it's really unfortunate. Of course, we really don't know that much about him. He comes up here every time, for a long time there in the big tournaments, he was right there. Tremendous. He was long and he had tremendous touch around the greens. Big guy, real strong, and, was tremendously successful in South America. Won a lot of stuff down there too. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe there's some other issues going on, maybe some drinking problems or something, some other personal issues that cause some of this stuff. And so I hope everything works out for him. It's too bad, but those are the kind of things that pop up once in a while, and unfortunate.
Most definitely. I mean, it's sad to know because he was such a character. He is such a character, and that he's called in Spanish El Pato, which is means the duck because of the way that he walks, right? So that started that type of personality that he is, and like you said, hopefully everything will work out for him at the end to get better. I'm not saying that he didn't do this. It definitely seems like, it's very true. So hopefully, everything gets settled down and he can look for some way of getting better. If it's drinking problems, if it's any depression stuff, whatever it is that he has going on, hopefully he can get it right. And hopefully we can see him back in golf. I mean, he's going to be in the Champions Tour, so that's where he would be. Anyway, Fred, the WGC. Okay, the first one in the of the season, scheduled February 25th to the 28th, will move from Mexico to the Concession Golf Club in Florida, and they're calling because of logistical challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. That's what the PGA Tour said last Friday. Now, it is expected that the event, which has been known as the World Golf Championships Mexico Championship since 2017, will return to Mexico next year. The tour is working to secure a title sponsor for this year's event. Uh, Fred, by moving the event to Florida, the officials have added a leg to the front of what will now be a 4-week swing through the state of Florida that also includes the Arnold Palmer Invitational, the Players Championship, and the aforementioned on the Classic that we mentioned in the weeks following the WGC event. So, uh, good move by the PGA Tour because definitely it'll attract more players. With the pandemic, this logistic, like they were saying, going to an international venue, then having to come back to Florida for a WGC wasn't really worth it to lose a lot of those big time players. Now it makes it easier just to pile them up on those 4 weeks.
Yeah, only makes sense. It's too important a part of the time of the year with the Florida swing building up to the Masters, going from March right into April. It just didn't work this year going there. But the bigger picture here, there might be a bigger picture. So let's talk about Jay Monahan on the European Tour board now and the European Strategic Alliance. And we're looking for a big event to come to the European Tour, maybe London, maybe to dovetail along with the BMW PGA, or let's just spitball this a little bit, right?
Fred the
This this
Swami.
this might be this might be something that can be moved and make Europe feel good. We've got the WGC in China. I don't know. It'd be nice to have some Australia. Just maybe that doesn't work, but I definitely think you could have one in Europe. Whether it would be and I think London would be the spot to do it. So yeah, you're gonna go ahead.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead. I'll just finish it when I'll
Okay.
just add to what you're saying.
So I don't know. Like you said, it's just going to kick off the 4-week Florida swing. You got the Palmer, the Players, the Honda Classic. You got the Valspar down there and stuff. So I mean, it's it makes a lot of sense for them to come to Florida. But I just wonder if the wheels are turning in the background.
It makes total sense what you're saying. I have to agree. I
Oh
have to
my God,
agree.
you're going to agree with me?
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree. And it makes total sense. Right now, the plans is 2022, right, to return to Mexico, because of course, I mean, it's just too short to try to make him do something with the European Tour so quick. But I also have to agree. Maybe, one of the things that you want to make sure you get the money from. How about a Middle Eastern start? Right? Because right now, and we're going to talk about the Abu Dhabi HSBC. Um, we already know HSBC is part of the WGCs back in China, and with the Abu Dhabi being part of the Rolex series on the European Tour, you just can make this tournament that is this weekend a WGC. Okay,
A
which
thought
would be a good kickoff for the European Tour because we know that this is the big kickoff for the European Tour.
a thought occurs just as we're talking here. As soon as you throw in Dubai and the Middle East, what about Saudi Arabia? You
I
got the
was, you got
PGL,
it. You
right?
got it.
You want to
That
make
was
these guys, you
exactly
want
where
to,
we're going.
how do you got to
That's,
keep your enemies close, right?
yep, yep. And those are the ones that want you to get the Premier League, golf league. So you want to keep those people. So
Yeah.
definitely, hey,
Give 'em a little taste. We just want a little taste.
just a little. Hey, they got the money. You've been saying, and you pay them, they'll come, right?
They
So
will come, but
hey,
they could do a WGC. So they've been doing the Saudi Arabia thing. They could turn that into a WGC and make that thing a $15 million purse or
whew,
some weird
easily,
thing, maybe even
easily.
20, and they'd be tickled to death to pony up the money.
Yep, very easily. They would definitely do it, and who knows? But I think definitely that could be the case. And hey, you heard it here in the Backman Report first. You haven't heard this anywhere. Look at it, Google it. Nowhere else you'll find it. But anyway, Fred, one of golf's and sports television's most entertaining hosts and interviewers, is losing his talk show. As first reported by Golf Digest, David Ferty's self-titled show, Ferty, is not being renewed by Golf Channel. That ends a 10-year run on the network, which produced more than 150 episodes. He will still be part of the NBC and Golf Channel's event coverage, so don't worry that the outspoken, playful analyst won't be on the air. I mean, he just signed a 3-year extension in December, but the show hasn't aired a new episode since September, with the production shutting down due to the COVID-19 concerns. Fred, according to Ferdy, he was told that back in the spring that the show wouldn't be renewed, most likely due to the production difficulties and Golf Channel's move from Orlando to Stamford, Connecticut, to be closer to NBC Sports Group operations. So, my only question is, why do we know about this now?
Well, I think they're probably shopping it around to other channels, probably. But the Golf Channel is just doing everything they can do to cut any cost, right? And I'm sure it was making money, but I'm sure it wasn't making big money. And there is a lot of expense. They don't just go like I go with a camera and a bag and a couple things and a couple lights and sit up in a one-man show and tape some stuff. They bring like a 4 or 5 or 6 man crew. They got big fancy, 20, $50,000 cameras and all the stuff that it needs. So you got all that airline expense, you got hotels, you got food and all that expense. I mean, it costs a lot of money to put one of those shows together. And when he started, he got really big names. I mean, he even did Obama. He even did Bubba. So I mean, it was he did some really big people, and it was a very good show, especially at the first 4 or 5 years. The last 4 or 5 years, I just spot watch them here and there. I don't watch all of them, but I really do like David Faraday when he's on the air. He has a tremendous wit, a tremendous sense of humor. They really tone him down for his announcing. When CBS, when he and McCord used to do what they could really do, and they would let them, they were fantastic. But the executives tone him down so much and won't let them say what they want to say. It becomes almost boring. If they would let him go, it would be much better. But I think the show just had its run, 10 years. That's like he said, he thought if it went 4 years, it'd be fantastic, right? So it's been good and he's had a great run with it. But it all comes back to the Golf Channel just looking to cut anything they can cut, no matter what it is. And they're going to just ruin the Golf Channel. I mean, a lot of people think they have now, and taking morning drive off, and the programming they're running. About the only thing they're good for now is if you want to watch a golf tournament. I used to have Golf Channel on all the time, all the time. I don't have it. The only time I turn Golf Channel on now is to look at a golf tournament. That's it. I don't watch any other show.
Yeah, they have lost a lot, and I wouldn't be surprised, like you're saying, if they fold it or even sell it. I don't think it's in the interest right now of NBC to keep them, because otherwise, what would you just be doing what they're doing? But I have to agree with you. I think Fertie's show, definitely, when you take away from what he should be doing, I mean, you're taking away his the the essence of what David Flaherty is. So you just got to let him loose. I think he should be better. Maybe his show better somewhere else. Maybe a little bit revamp. We'll see. Maybe a Netflix or some of those streaming networks would
he does everything with a golf bend. I think he's limiting himself. I think he should open it up. He could do interviews of a more serious nature. He doesn't have to be a clown. He's very good. And he could interview people and have a real show like some of these other people have done. And it doesn't have to be a big budget deal. He could catch people when they're coming through Dallas, or he could catch somebody when he's going to be somewhere doing a tournament, hang out for a couple extra days and do the production on it. So it could be done in a way that wouldn't be that expensive to do for them. And he could have his own production company and put them together. So I don't know. Maybe he's getting tired of doing it too. There is something to the fact that, when you do something and do it well, you want the next one to be a little bit better, right? And the
Mhm.
next, and then that pressure is on you to constantly be a little bit better. Maybe it's just too much for him. Maybe he's tired of doing it too.
Maybe. I mean, but also it comes down to what his production team does, right? Because that's the ones that get him the interviews and the things that are going to be on the show. Like you said, I think it would be a great idea what you're saying. Just to he's going to be on air anyway with the Golf Channel, NBC in their coverage. So maybe, like you're saying, he has to be at those places. Let's do a show where he has to be, like going out and meeting with the people, meeting the scene, the city, talk to somebody from there important. I don't know, there's a lot of things that he can do, but we'll see. I don't think we've seen the last of Furty. I think there's going to be something in his future. We'll see. But anyway, Fred, the European Challenge Tour and the Sunshine Tour on Wednesday postponed three co-sanctioned events scheduled to take place in South Africa next month due to safety concerns arising from the COVID-19 pandemic. The Challenge Tour's South African swing will now begin in the week of April 22 to the 25th, with the tournament and its venue still to be announced. The opening event will be followed by the Cape Town Open at Royal Cape Golf Club from April 29 to May 2. And then the Dimension Data Pro-Am at Fancourt Golf State will be from May 6 to May 9. So we still see another tournaments, another tour that is affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, but at least we see how they keep trying to accommodate so that they can try to put a full year schedule.
Yep, it's everywhere across the world. That's the deal that we're living with right now. And so again, you can't argue with any of these things. These people are trying to do their best they can to get these guys a place to play and be as safe as they can possibly be. So kudos to them for trying to get that done, and hope it all works out for them. That's all I can tell you.
It's a it's the times that we're living on, but definitely have to give them kudos for trying and keeping that product alive. Hey, Fred, I know you like this one. I know you like this one. One of the most revered course designs in the annals of golf architecture is coming back from the dead. It's not going to be a zombie, it's going to be a great thing. The original Lido Golf Club, the revered Long Island layout designed by C.B. McDonald and later destroyed by the U.S. Navy during World War II, is being reborn in its original form in the sands of central Wisconsin. Tom Doak and his Renaissance design team are heading up the recreation of the Lido on an 850-acre property adjacent to the Sand Valley Golf Resort. Fred, also, if anyone is sensing Mike Kaiser's involvement, they will be right because his sons, Michael Jr. and Chris, are taking the lead on the Lido project.
Yeah, Sand Valley is such a unique place with the two courses there, and then the par three, a couple Core Crenshaw designs, and also David McClay Kidd. Really good stuff there. And I can't wait to see this. I know, they announced this right after I was up there a couple years ago, and that Doak was going to build a golf course, and so now they're building this kind of in the likeness of the old Lido, and it was such a legendary place, and everybody rues the fact that it's no longer there, and so this is kind of cool if they're able to take that and put it into Wisconsin. Little twist: it is going to be a private facility, but they are going to try and have some packages, some rounds available for guys, for people that are going to be staying in the lodge. So the rounds are going to be limited, but might be able to get on there and play it. I was going to try and go up there. I was scheduled to go up there last year actually, and then because of COVID, we called it off, and of course the Ryder Cup was called off. And so I was thinking about maybe trying to go up again this summer, but we'll have to see how that plays out. But I really want to get back to Sand Valley. It is just, if you're a golfer, other than Bandon Dunes, which again is a Mike Kaiser property, you've got Branson, you got the Big Cedar Lodge down there now, and you got places like Pinehurst and these kind of places. Sand Valley is right there with all that. Once they get this done, 3 golf courses. It's out in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing there. You're going to go there, play golf. You're going to have dinner. You might play some cards with the guys in the evening, whatever, and you're going to go up and play golf again the next day. But it's if you're a golfer, it's very, very, very cool. Can't wait to see this new golf course.
Can't wait to see it. And Fred, with that, we get off the course. And now you have some words for us from Boyne.
The ski slopes are alive right now at Boyne with over about a foot of snow for a base and snowing about 2 inches every day. Conditions are perfect for winter outdoor sports in northern Michigan. Matter of fact, I was just talking to my friend Ken Griffin today from up there, who's the senior marketing executive for the Boyne Resort. And we're going to have him on the show here in maybe another week or two. We're going to get him on. We're going to talk to him a little bit about Boyne. They got some hot deals right now on pricing for the summer for golf. Right now is the best time to find the lowest pricing for summer golf and family adventure trips. 3 different locations, 10 golf courses, every outdoor activity imaginable, service beyond compare. Boyne is a place you should be this summer. They just came out with a new pricing package today. Go to boyne.com, BOYNE.com/golf. Check it out. Book you either buddy's trip, girls golf getaway, family vacation, whatever. It's the place to go, Carlos. Boyne.com/golf.
There you have it. Now we're going to be signing off our card and doing some forecalls or previews of what's going to happen this next week, this next weekend. And the American Express is up next for the PGA Tour in La Quinta, California, where Andrew Landry is the defending champion. He's seeking to become the event's first repeat champion since Johnny Miller back in 75 and 76. Phil Mickelson will serve as the event's host for the second time. This event will be conducted on only 2 courses this year for the first time in history. Those courses will be the PGA West Stadium course and the PGA West Nicklaus Tournament course. With amateurs not playing alongside the pros due to the COVID-19 health and safety precautions, the La Quinta Country Club is not going to be part of the tournament. Now, the cut will also be forgone from the typical 54 holes for the event to 36. John Ram, the world's second ranked player, withdrew from the event Monday. No reason was provided for the 2018 champions withdrawal, leaving the event with 12 of the world's top 50 players to be there. The 2019 U.S. Amateur runner-up John Augenstein will make his professional debut. You might remember he finished T55 after making the cut at the Masters in November. Fred, other sponsors exemptions include South Korea's 18-year-old Yoo Young Kim, fellow teenager Ash K. Bhatia, and England's 23-year-old Harry Hall.
Yeah, this event over the years, they kind of have to beg guys to come and play in it because it's a Pro-Am and it's a big field normally, because it gets spread over 3 courses. Only playing 2 this year. The Nicklaus course did do some significant change last year. The 1 par 4 is now at 453 yards. And so it plays up to almost 7,200 yards. They changed the grass on the green, so they roll a little bit better. In the field this week, Carlos, you got Brooks Koepka, Tony Finau, Matt Wolff, Kevin Na hopes to stay hot, Scotty Scheffler, Sungjae Im, Patrick Cantley, and Patrick Reed. I think Reed is the highest ranked player. Well, yeah, probably the highest ranked. Brooks is right there. I wouldn't be surprised to see Matthew Wolff maybe be the guy this week. This would be a good course for him out there. He can fire it in there. I think the scoring is normally low in the desert. Look for lots of birdies. Make your fantasy picks and your betting picks accordingly, Carlos.
Yeah, Brooks is looking to kick off his 2021 and start his preparations to try to peak up for the Masters, of course, and definitely Matthew Wolff is the guy to look for this week there in the American Express. Now, the European Tour kicks off its 2021 calendar year this week at the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship. Additionally, this is the first Rolex Series event of 2021, and as such, a stellar field of players are competing, such as Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy, Justin Rose, Matt Fitzpatrick, Tyrrell Hatton, Tommy Fleetwood, Shane Lowry, Lee Westwood. All those big names are there, Fred. Taking place at the Abu Dhabi Golf Club often has a winning score north of 15 under par. So we could be in for an exciting affair with all those players over there.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Rory, seeing how if he could rededicate himself and have some of the fire and some of the interest get back to his top form. I'd like to see him have a big year. I think Rory, it's time for him to really have a big year again. A lot of big names in this field, as you imagine. $8 million. I mean, there's only 4 Rolex Series events this year, right? And this is one of them. So really, really a big deal. The European Tour is kind of starting out with a bang here. I like that. And, we talked about that with Kapalua. It just never seemed like it rose to the status it should be to be the first event of the year. I like this, the Europeans coming in with a big event right off the bat. So, I'm going to be watching some of this, Carlos. Abu Dhabi, it's a really beautiful golf course. It's really, really a good golf course. Usually has a really top name winner from there.
Yeah, look out on your fantasy team. I have Sami Valimaki. Okay, watch
Whoa.
out, Sami Valimaki. He's in good
Okay.
form right now. Has not missed a cut since 2020 U.S. Open, and let me tell you, he can play the desert. He had T5 and T13 finishing 2 most recent events in Dubai. So watch out. He's playing really good. That's my pick for you there on the fantasy team. Now, the Diamond Resorts Tournament of Champions will be kicking off the LPGA 2021 season. The ladies will be at the beautiful Four Seasons Golf and Sports Club in Orlando, Florida, where Gabby Lopez is the defending champion. She defeated Nasa Hataoka and Inbee Park in a 7-hole playoff last year, in which Park was eliminated in the third hole. The field includes 25 LPGA Tour winners from the past 3 years in a no-cut event, but it also features, contrary to everybody else, 53 celebrities and amateurs playing a modified stable for scoring format where a bogey is worth 1 point, a par is worth 2 points, a birdie is worth 3, and an eagle is worth 5. Fred, former major leaguer pitcher John Smoltz is the two-time defending celebrity champion. He'll try to make it a three-pit this year.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to mention. That Smoltz was going for a three-peat there. He likes it there. He likes this golf course. It's right outside of Orlando, right across the street from the main entrance of Disney World, at the Four Seasons there. Pretty nice place down there. You got to have a big winner to get in this thing. It's kind of like the LPGA's Tournament of Champions kind of thing to compare to the PGA Tour. You got some pretty good names here too. You got Marcus Allen, Ray Allen, the pitcher Brian Baumgartner. You got Lee Bryce, the singer, Roger Clemens, Kirk Cousins, Greg Maddux. I'd go just to see Greg Maddux. He's one of my all-time favorites. A lot of big names playing this thing, and it's just a funsy event. The ladies kind of enjoy it, get to play with some of the celebrities that they see on TV and stuff. So you got it on. It's going to be on the Golf Channel most of the time. It'll be on NBC a little bit on Saturday and a little bit on Sunday from about 2:30 to 4:30 on Saturday. Be on the NBC and Sunday from 3 to 5. Rest of the time it's on the Golf Channel in the early part of the day. So early part of the afternoon, I should say. So 12 million, $1.2 million purse, 72 holes, no cut. Should be a blast.
It should be. And one more tournament to end up is the Mitsubishi Electric Championship played at the Hualalai Golf Club in Kaupulehu, Kona in Hawaii. That's the first event of the second half of what is now the combined 2020-21 Champions Tour season as the result of the coronavirus pandemic. Hualalai will play host to the event for the 25th time. Hale Irwin has competed in each one of them, and his 25th start at Walalai this week is the most of any player at one venue in tour history. And it would be history if he wins here and says, "Hey, Bernhard, one more you're going to have to do to go and get me." Now, Miguel Angel Jimenez defeated Fred Couples and Ernie Els in the playoff last year. Fred, the field is comprised of 42 players only. Shane Burst, KJ Choi, Darren Clark, Jim Furyk, Brett Quigley, and Mike Weir will make their tournament debuts. And Fred, no fans will be permitted at this year's tournament.
You took my thunder with the Hale Irwin reference there. We just put a post up on Michigan Golf Journal just a little while ago. Tom Lang did an interview with Hale and talked about his 25th start there at the Mitsubishi at Hualalai and the 45 wins and all that stuff. Bernard trying to catch him. So you can catch that on the website Michigan Golf Journal up there in the corner if you want to read that. But yeah, Champions Tour getting started like they always do over there in Hawaii. So that makes 3 weeks in a row we've got golf from Hawaii. So nothing wrong with that. And we'll probably try to catch a little. I don't know, Carlos. I'm going to be driving to Florida and watching football games. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch much golf this weekend.
I'll text you. I'll text you and keep you
Okay, all right.
updated. So don't worry about it. But now, Fred, we're entering the clubhouse. So we have our final words, our parting shots.
Is
I
it
have
time for a
one
beer?
subject. Huh?
Is it time for a beer? We're going to the clubhouse.
Yeah, we're in the clubhouse. I
That's what
have
you need to
mine right
call
here.
it. This
Hey,
needs to be the ninth. This needs to be the 19th hole. That's what we need to call this.
that would be good. That would be good. The 19th hole was before. But anyway, see, I have mine here ready. It's full. But anyway, Fred, my parting shot, and it's a question to you. I was listening to this just today, okay? Because there is this case, this thing going on, and we have been talking about TV ratings, streaming, cable cutters, and all this stuff. And there's a situation brewing, okay? Regional sports networks are fighting back to the streaming big ones, Hulu, Netflix, and all these people that want to, hey, I want your programming so I can give it to my clientele, right? But they're saying, yeah, but you're not paying me enough. All right. The cable companies used to pay me this much. Now, the streaming companies say, well, I cannot pay you that much because my model doesn't provide for that. I'm trying to keep the costs down so I can bring the people from the cable here and then I can stream everything that I need to. But then they say, but that doesn't work for me. That's what the regional sports networks are saying. I'm sorry, but I have to make money too. So they're at an impasse right now because, of course, the model of one is undercutting the cable companies so that you can have all the streaming and all this revenue. But at that time, you're not giving the same money to the sports, uh, to the sports regional sports networks. So they're at an impasse right now, and I don't see how that's going to be solved. So the question that was posed, and I posed it to you, is where is that breaking point? Because there's going to be those sports fans that say, it's a deal breaker for me if you're not showing me my sports. I am not going to just say no to the cable just because I have this other thing here. I still have it in this other place. Plus, I have my sports. Of course, there's going to be the other side. But where would you stand on this one? I mean, I can understand both sides. And that's why I'm like torn between which one is going to prevail on this one.
I think your regional networks are going to have that programming and sell it to the people that want it. If they've got an audience, if they've got people that will pay them, they don't have to be on a network per se. I mean, you can go out and get a Roku channel. You can put it on YouTube. It doesn't cost that much to do it, and it's fine. So like with COVID, so like these high school games, you can only get so many tickets, right? So like in Ford Field, okay, Ford Field seats what, 70, 80,000 people, right? They're allowing 125 tickets per team. So they're going to be like 300 people in this whole giant stadium, and they're not giving out any more tickets for this championship game, right? Just absolutely ludicrous, absolutely ridiculous. So, but what my point is that so we couldn't go to some of the games, we couldn't get tickets, but there's an outfit that's streaming it, National Football High School Foundation or whatever, okay? And so you pay them, I don't know, 40 bucks or whatever, and so you get their service for a year. So if you want to watch the Dallas semi-pro football team or whatever, they get some local videographer to tape the stuff, to put 3 or 4 cameras around, tape it, put it out there, and people pay 40, 50 bucks. So if they got 5,000 people or something that want to watch this thing, as long as they keep it under that budget, then they're good to go. I've looked at it a couple times about maybe trying to do a couple small golf tournaments with a couple, renting some cameras and doing some stuff. It doesn't take that much money to put something together. So I guess if I'm hearing your question right, I still think cable is going by the way of the dinosaur. And if you want to broadcast or air something regional, it can be done very cost effectively and still stream it. It doesn't have to be on a Netflix or an Amazon. You can do it on some of these other platforms, Carlos.
Well, here's the thing that I'm thinking on, and this is coming from the part where I used to work on the big carriers, right? The carriers started to do this transition to an internet provider because you still need internet. Doesn't matter what you're gonna do, whether you cut your cable or you want to stream, you need a transport for it. So the cable companies could be migrating away from the cable company to a streaming provider as well. So they could be that transport for all of these different platforms that say, hey, I agree with you. The regional sports can be, united under itself and hey, I'm going to provide this streaming service, but I'm going to go through this internet provider, which could end up being one of those big carriers. And the cable company know their model has to be changed. So I actually see a way that they can be providing their product through the internet, like you're saying. I agree. They can do their own streaming service, but I see like a transition coming from the cable companies to be a provider instead of trying to give the whole thing and they being the ones that are going to be
Yeah,
providing.
yeah. You can really be a niche. You can really be a, if I don't know, like your high school football team. I mean, nothing, maybe it's only you got 1,000 subscribers, right? But if you can go out there, if you want to, well, I got a guy here in Toledo that has a small production company, and he does the high school basketball and does high school football games here around the Toledo area. And he goes in with his cameras, he sets them up and the audio equipment, and he gets like the restaurants, the local stores, the local retailers to sponsor it, to put the high school kids football games out there and basketball games, and he makes a living doing that. So, and I mean, it's just one of the things he does, but he does it year in and year out. He's been doing it for a long time. So you can do it. You don't have to have the Netflix and the Animal. They're great for doing the NFL, for doing the NHL, Major League Baseball. I mean, the stuff that's great. But when you're getting down to the smaller sports and the regionalized sports, you can do it on a much smaller scale and very cost effective and still have it provided available. And you'll get people to pay you for it, I guarantee you.
Definitely. Well, that was my parting shot. How about you?
No, I think I got, we got Michigan Golf Journal, Ohio Golf Journal, Back Nine Report TV on Roku and on YouTube. Hope everybody logs on and checks those out. We've got, I tell you, if you're looking for golf travel, if you're thinking about traveling, I put a couple pieces up on Facebook this week, some of the places like Georgia or, some of the different places to go. So if you're looking for a place to go and you're starting to think about golf travel, we've got a lot of great interviews, a lot of great golf travel pieces on the Back Nine Report TV.
Well, back Niners, that will wrap up another week of the Back Nine Report. Thank you for joining us. It's always our pleasure to bring you the latest on the world of golf. Don't forget to see us again next week on YouTube, or if you miss it, check out the audio version on TuneIn. And if you haven't done so, I don't know what you're waiting for. Follow the show on Twitter. Our ID is at Back Nine Report with the number 9 in the middle. My name is Carlos Torres, along with Fred Altvater. We wish you to be happy, be blessed, and enjoy the great game of golf. Happy golfing, everybody.
Hope I see you on the back nine in Florida next week.